Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from the 8th group and our material is reference and referent. Referent is a relationship in which a symbol or sign, a word for the example, signifies something. Referent is generally construed as the relationship between noun and pronouns and object that are named by them. Reference is a relationship between part of language and thing outside the language in the world. It can be proved by things in the real world and only one step to prove it. And then the referent is the thing signified. The referent may be an actual person or object, or maybe something more abstract such as a set of actions. And a word of reference is the object that it stands for a specific occasion of use. Or we can say is the particular thing, person, place, and extra, which is an expression stands for a particular occasion of use and it changes its time the word is applied to a different object or situation in the word. Referential is a meaning that have a reference in the real world. The reference can be a name, person, place, a general thing that can be seen in the universe, and activity or action. An attitude that refers to the state of an object, animal, or person, and a description that refers to the state of an action. A referential approach in semantics is when language is used to refer to something in the world. A referent is a person, entity, place, concept, experience, and so on in the real or imagined world that is designed by a word or phrase. For example, in the word cat refers to a valid domestic animal, while hobbit refers to a small human-like creature with hairy feet and pointed ears in the fictional universe by a writer or someone who wrote the story. It is an object or an entity in the real world or in the world of your imagination.
Types of reference. 1. Generic and non-generic reference. Generic reference is a referring to a noun in a general way. Example, goats are grass-eating animal. The word goats here denotes a goat in general, or not just a specific type of goat. Non-generic reference is a sentence which can be expressed by specifying an object or situation. Example, a goat dies after eating a leaf. 2. Specific and non-specific reference. Specific reference means referring to a particular item or noun mentioned earlier. Example, during break, all the hungry students go to the canteen. Non-specific reference means referring to one of the many possible items or introducing a noun for the first time in the text. Example, there is a canteen at school. 3. Definite and indefinite reference. The definite who occurs in the reference expression when the speaker assumes that the listener can identify the reference or when identification becomes part of the reference expression. Example, my friend has a pizza. The indeterminate a and multiple and zero indicates that the reference is part of a larger entity. Example, my friend ate the pizza.
Okay, now we are moving to endoparic and cataphoric. Endophoric references relate to references that are both anaphoric and cataphoric. Consequently, it refers to either earlier or anaphoric, or later in the text or cataphoric. Endophoric have two primary types. There are anaphoric and cataphoric. An anaphoric occurs when a word or phrase references a thing or idea mentioned earlier in the text. So what about a cataphoric? A cataphoric reference occurs when a word or phrase references a thing or idea mentioned later in the text. Next is exophoric. Exophoric references go beyond the text to the context in which the text is used to determine the identifications of the thing being referred. Next is the example of analysis. The first is reference. In the sentence, Mark saw me. The referent of the word Mark is the particular person called Mark who is being spoken of, while the referent of the word me is the person uttering the sentence. Next is for reference. In the sentence, watch out for the bus. The word bus is the referent because the speaker can identify something in the real world, or speaker can identify that there is a bus. Next is in endophoric. Like what I have said before, like endophoric have two types. There are anaphoric and cataphoric. First is anaphoric. For example, Sally went out for it. She returned at 8 o'clock. The anaphoric reference is she. Is it obvious that the pronoun she refers to Sally? There was no need to repeat her name in the following sentence. Next is cataphoric. For example, before he returned at 6 o'clock, Johnny went out for drinks. In this sentence, the pronoun he is still referring to Johnny. The subject, which is mentioned later in the sentence, he, is cataphoric. Now I will continue to exophoric. For example, there is a customer. What kind of flower would you say it is? Where would you put it on your face? In this case, speaker know clearly what flowers is being referred to this conversation. In the word you and your is an example of exophoric reference. Okay guys, I think that's all from us. If we have some mistakes in our pronunciation or in our explanations, I hope you all can pardon us. And the last we say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.